Welcome to the latest episode of the Coman Power Organic Fitness podcast. I have my latest guest here in front of me. We have had chats behind the scenes. There has been more glasses put on and off than I've ever seen before. All right, Michelle Parry, welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing? Great to be here.
Thank you for literally coming on. We connected through the likes of social media, and I suppose introducing it as someone that's not only a community manager, a student, which is, when we say on a topic that is quite linked to different topics that we cover on this podcast, is biodiversity and conservation. Is there anything else you'd like to most certainly touch on? And I want you to let me know a little bit more about your background before we get into what you're currently doing over in the UK at the minute.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I am based in Lancaster. I'm a farmer's daughter, so I grew up on a farm and kind of I've loved that. I feel really grateful to have been doing that, and then wanted to kind of go to the city and go and study and leave the countryside. And then it wasn't until recently where I really felt like the pullback and wanted to kind of reconnect with everything I've been doing and probably taking for granted growing up. And I currently run a little business called Land and Sea, where we get people together to come and connect with each other in real life, come and connect with nature through different types of wellness experiences, where they might come and like do the regular things like yoga and wellness retreats, but also come and learn how to grow food, come and do litter picks, come and learn about beekeeping, all types of different things. And then we do the supper clubs, which is getting people together, cooking with fire, over one long banquet table and having some really tasty, delicious food, all focused around local produce. And
there's loads there to unpack. You literally nearly went through the full podcast listing of stuff there. We'll say no more. The idea, right, is wellness experience. And tell us about litter picks.
Litter picks, you know, like picking up rubbish. Well, because we're living right here on the coast, I'm directly on the seawall, so we get all sorts of stuff coming up with the tide. So last week we did a litter pick and probably walking like 200 meters, we've maybe got 3 full bags of litter after a high tide. It's crazy.
That couldn't be any more topical at this moment in time when I'm recording this. Okay, for the long-time listeners to the show, people know that I do not eat McDonald's. There is a hunt out for this man or woman or anything else in between who bought it. It's on TikTok, it's gone viral. It's amazing, and Instagram. Okay, the order number was order number 49 on Sunday. I can't remember the date, what today's date is. Okay, they ordered no pickles. That's very specific, right? They no onions either. This is hilarious. But I have been hunting them down. I've filed complaints. I've went into the McDonald's. I found the McDonald's that it belongs to. So that's a long, long story. But that's somebody littering on a road close to me, and they did not expect me to catch them, and I'm on their tail. So you watch out. But that goes on to rubbish. We can talk a little bit about this. Like what people, how they've been raised to decide for themselves to throw whatever it is out the window or into the sea or on the bank of a river that it washes in and think that it would be okay. I don't ever and can ever relate to them.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, like, it's monkey see, monkey do in a way, you know, like if that's what you've seen growing up or that's what you see somebody do. I think there's like psychology around if you see a bin overflowing or if you see an area that's littered, you're more likely to litter yourself, which is crazy. But I feel like you see people, I mean, I see people do it all the time around here. It's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not good, I suppose. And that's where social media can be used to change a negative to a positive. So now I actually have groups of people both online, not only in Ireland and the UK and elsewhere in America, picking up rubbish as a 30-day challenge, right?
I love that.
Yeah. So there's 3 things. It's a 30-day challenge. It's officially kind of starting on Monday when we're recording this. This is going out Thursday. I'm going to make sure this comes out Thursday. So that literally more people can join this 30-day challenge. It's just unbelievable how we're talking about this right now. So there's 3 things as part of the challenge. Okay. The first is that you eat 1 local or organic food. Okay. Preferably fermented, good for the gut health. We then move on to the likes of number 2. These are in order of preference, 20 minutes of walking or exercise. I can send people a 20-minute workout. Okay. From that, then there's at least 3 pieces of rubbish that is along or litter that is on your road or where you literally can tidy up an area. And that's literally how simple it is for 30 days. Lads, let's get on the boat and turn negatives into positives. That's what I'd like to see. Yeah, come on.
Well, I'll sign up. You've got enough.
Amazing. Right. So anyone else that would like to sign up, if you just send me the word organic in a DM in a private message, and I will send you over the details with the link, and then you'll get workouts sent to you on a Monday, and we'll do the workouts, and we get the litter picking, and we get healthy in 30 days, and we'll catch this goddamn son of a gun. And this is the evidence, and it's weird because like just sitting there in front of me for the last couple of days. I'll get you.
It looks so fresh as well.
There's we can talk about
Must have been so close to the scent.
Oh, it's very. Oh, Jesus! I tell you, it was nearly hot when I got it. That's how close I was. Because I often like doing. So I take calls for work. I like to be a multitask. So I would take calls and I walk at the same time. So I like to do two things at one if I can. So that was the case. I'd been there for one call and then I walked up the road again. And I went, "What's this here? Red, glowing red on the side of the road." And I went, "Oh." I was picking up the rubbish and I saw it. Nearly flipped up another one. And it was like the time, the date, the order number, and I was like straight McDonald's straight away by on the hunt, and I made a video and like went 250,000 on, I'm gonna say Instagram, and then over 250,000 on TikTok. That's cool. I love social media.
That is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. And the idea is I've picked up rubbish before. People say, "Oh Jesus, it was just that one time they called and picked up rubbish," and I went, "Oh, I make content every day for those people that don't know about that every my birthday, Valentine's Day, Christmas Day, even the bank holidays. I also do those. Organic Retreat, 26th of September. Get your tickets now, right? It's in Mitchelstown, in Barnahound. And if you haven't seen the luxurious accommodation and layout, as well as the hens that are right outside the back door, which leads us on to the topics that we're going to be covering in and on it. So it's going to be nutrition, which is so key, Lily, to your health. And it really has a direct result in the way you look, you feel, and how much energy levels you have. Gut health will be one of the topics, okay? There's a massive difference in people's overall health, right? We'll be doing a bit of growing, yes, because that really gets the best type of foods from your back door right to your kitchen plate. After that, it is that rare opportunity to live an organic fitness lifestyle from AM to PM, from the Friday all the way to the Sunday. Okay, so that's 4 p.m. on the Friday. We get you guys there. After that, we're finishing up on 2 p.m. on Sunday. So nearly 3 days, 2 nights, accommodation, foods, all inclusive. Okay, and because of the demand in this, we have the 18th of February, 18th of May, that we're really also locking in an extra half day for anyone that weekend they're unable to attend. All right. Other than that, the idea is that's what is on offer. And if you want to check it out, make sure you go straight over to the website. That's Coman Power Organic Fitness. Get on that good stuff. Yeah, I want you to talk a little bit more about, I suppose, what you're doing and bringing communities together in relation to either getting them to either grow some of their own food. What's the setup at the minute? And yeah, so expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So with Land and Sea, we have the regular workshops, which are around the supper clubs or foraging experiences. So people kind of come, they'll learn to identify different plants. And mostly it's plants that people already know, that they can then go home and have a little bit of inspiration about how they might use nettles or wild garlic. It's all stuff that's really easy to identify. But we do workshops sometimes around fermentation, and also cooking with the fire. But I'm at the moment trying to take it a little bit further and make it more accessible for people. So I've set up a community interest company called Butterfly Effect. And then the idea of the butterfly effect is similar to actually the litter picking, what you're talking about now, that like one simple act can create this butterfly effect that can knock on. So something so small as you picking up the McDonald's box and putting that on TikTok has now gone to however many, hundreds of thousands of people, and hopefully that knock-on effect, it's like the small things. So with the butterfly effect, we got a little pot of money from a local food charity called Food Futures, which is an amazing local food directory, and they do loads of cool stuff in our area, in the Lancashire sort of district, connecting people with growing and different types of workshops. And they're trying to encourage more sort of satellite things like what I'm doing here. So we've set up some planters, got a greenhouse, and then the idea is to get as many local people from our little village coming down to the site to come and learn about how to grow food, get the school kids from the local village to come. They kind of come regularly and do sort of nature connection stuff, but I kind of want them to have ownership of it, so they can see how things are changing throughout the seasons and keep coming back. And then that's why when I heard you on the Food Matters podcast, I thought I'm going to get in touch with this guy, because I'm at the start of this journey and I'm kind of like learning as I go about how to get this type of community involved in what we're doing here at the site. Because at the moment with the suppers and with the workshops, it's more people, they're already interested, they're already opting into something, they're seeking out these kind of food experiences, whereas what I really want to encourage now is to try and get to people at a grassroots level where they might not be thinking about it, or it's just become something that's normal, like putting litter in the bin, or like growing your own food, or feeling confident to do so. So I'm kind of on the learning process and the learning journey myself currently with this.
Yeah, very good. I'm just going to say fair play to you. Setting up the thing is, a lot of people actually right now, they don't have an area or don't know somewhere that they can literally come and meet other like-minded people, which you're creating right now. Love that. And the idea is when you build it, they will come, and no doubt you're going to be super successful, because the whole idea of it is you're someone that's driven, that someone's passionate, and someone that's studying it, and not only studying it, is also putting it into practice. And you don't ever have to know everything to literally start. And that's the whole idea of it. Some people say you have to get a master's degree to literally begin. No, you don't. You literally just have to put the seed in the ground, and you literally, the advantage of sowing the seed now. Best time to start growing was 5 years ago. Next best time is today. Love that. Love that.
Quote Coman Power. Love that.
Get on, that good stuff. Magic stuff. Do you have any events that are coming up in the near future, either wellness, I'm going to say, or anything else?
Yeah, I've got loads of events coming up. So I've got quite a few supper clubs coming up. I've got one on the 25th of April. We seat about 36 people on one table. And then people kind of come on your own. You can come with a group of mates. The idea is if you come on your own, you leave with some friends as well. That's a really beautiful thing about getting people together around food, because it really is just like the simplest thing that we do every single day, and we can all connect over that. And then with the butterfly effect, we've got lots of other events coming up. We've got ones like learning how to grow mushrooms. One of our neighbours, they have a mushroom farm, so they're growing things like it's Wyreside mushrooms. They're growing lion's mane and black pearls and oyster mushrooms. So you'll get a grow bag of oyster mushrooms, and then that'll go back to the classroom, or you can take that away. And then, I mean, we've got loads of events coming up, like fun ones. We've got learning how to identify the Asian hornet bee. So that's kind of coming into the Lancashire area potentially. So we don't want to do that, so it's going to destroy bee colonies. So we've got that coming up. We've got some foraging days also coming up in the next couple of weeks. There's loads. You just need to go on the website and check those out.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we mention that closer towards, I suppose, the end of the show in itself. I know you mentioned and touched on a little bit about the fermentation. Is that kind of classes in relation to either sourdough bread? Are we going towards kimchi or sauerkraut? Or what are you typically doing at those different courses?
So all of the above, really, but mostly like we'll do things like a simple pickle, or learning how to do a kombucha, or take some of the things like using kefir grains to do kefir water. They're really easy to do quite simply, and then you can kind of go home and everybody can do that and not be worried about killing the SCOBY, if you know what I mean. And then we'll send people off with a SCOBY, which is like the bit that keeps this weird brain looking thing that keeps on growing and taking on a life of its own. Yeah, so there's kind of like, it's a 2-hour workshop typically, and we try and cram as much as we can in to give people a little bit of a taster, and just kind of like a bit of motivation to get started and give that a go at home.
Yeah, very cool. I'm interested in the topic, I suppose, of your biodiversity and I'm going to say conservation. Are things you've learned that have really kind of opened up your eyes, that you really are looking forward to, or that you have put into practice at this moment in time on the current lands you're looking after?
Yeah, so the reason why I did go, I'm currently studying a master's in biodiversity and conservation at the local university. It's a 2-year part-time course, and I'm absolutely loving it. I feel like a sponge, just sucking up all the knowledge, because it's stuff that I've been interested in, but I am one of those people who feels like they need to go to get the accreditation to make sure it's in my brain, and I don't know why, but I am. And yeah, I've learned absolutely heaps. It's just so much stuff related to farming, and then growing up on a farm and just kind of like seeing that in the lens of biodiversity and conservation has been really, really interesting, and just different ways and to do stuff. Currently, one of my assignments that I've got due at the end of the month is a habitat management plan. So I'm taking the learnings from that, which is based on a local location, and I'm going to do one specifically for our site as well. So yeah, I mean, there's just so much. It's so exciting to do it in a local context as well as like see what's going on globally. But I'm definitely hopeful about all of the things that I'm learning. There's lots of doom and gloom around, obviously, conservation and the climate crisis, but I do also think there's loads to be hopeful for. And I think doing things in community, in real life, on a smaller scale is really like where it's at.
Yeah, and I suppose that increase in, I'm going to say, anxiety, depression, and as you said, in person, grounding, touching
Yeah.
hands. There's muck in between my fingernails and on the
Yeah.
palms of my hands because of muck. Because I've been digging holes, putting the potatoes into the ground today for a community project. And that's what people want to do. And it is for, let's say, for the most part, for me and people that I've after learned, teaching them how to and learn them how to do it. It's easy. It's as easy as pie. Do you know what I mean? It's as easy as tying the shoelaces once you know how. You open up the ground, you pop in the potato. What you do is upside down. Well, do you know what? The potato is absolutely so tolerant. It would be fine if you put it upside down, inside out, and any way at all. Even if you cut it in half, which you can do with your potatoes, to double the amount of, I'm going to say, seeds that you have. Usually something that, and in fact, you can triple them. You can take out just the eyes. Someone told me, like I still learn. So 10, 11 years on, doing growing and being a previous commercial grower myself, like someone told me you just need the eye. So you just need that tiny bit. If I had a spoon, which I usually do in my pocket, you need to just take off one eye and get that to grow. And the amount of energy that literally is in that can produce up to 10 potatoes from one eye. That's,
Wow.
if you had 100, that's 100 potatoes. That's a lot of potatoes. And you don't need to have a huge, I'm going to say, acreage of land to do that. You can
No.
grow in buckets. Yeah, I said buckets. And if you do it very well, a woman has astounded me. She's in her 50s. I won't say her age, but now I've said her age. I won't say her name. She is after getting 32. That is 3 and 2, one for each one of the county. Someone came up cleverly, quicker than I was, at the grow course. She grew in a bucket. Lads, that's a savage amount of spuds.
That's amazing. I
From
think
one.
it's just having the confidence to do it, or thinking, and I don't know what the blocker is there sometimes. Like I definitely experience that myself. You know, what's stopping you from just getting out there and doing it is the probably the fear of failing, or you're not going to be able to do it, or but yeah, anybody can, and instinctively we are nature, aren't we? We're not apart from it, and we're not separate from it. So it is we do know what to do. You know, and even if we don't know what to do, if you just put it there, it'll start doing it on its own anyway. If you leave your potatoes in the bowl too long, they just start doing their thing anyway, don't they?
They're literally growing, even if you don't know it. They're in the
Yeah.
press going, I want to get into the ground. You're like, oh, geez, I don't know what's going on. My potatoes are growing. Yeah, well, put them into the ground. Oh, right. So I get it now. Like, it's just really that small, like, breaking through, or just push them out the door and go, oh, yeah, I go outside and I put them in the ground or a bucket and they start to come up. And now there's more of them. Amazing. Is that how you do it? I've just done it. Oh, yeah, you have. And now you have more potatoes. What do I do with them? You eat them and save one or two, and then you have more for next year. Amazing. And that's how we've done it for generations.
Mm.
And it is that dying trade of growing, and I love the whole, I suppose, ethos now of getting back to your roots, pardon the pun, holistic health and wellness from
Yeah.
whether it's wild garlic or nettles and foraging. And even in my own family, like I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't grow up on a farm. My mom and dad are psychiatric nurses. How I got into it, I fell into it because I sure as hell didn't want to sit down in front of a desk. I know I'm sitting there right now for 8 hours a day. And I had to listen to everybody else give out to me because I misspelled something in the office, and I'm going, Jesus, I'm not doing that right now. So I chose to do horticulture. Actually, I was going to be a landscaper. My father said, don't be a landscaper because you'd be digging holes for the rest of your life. But I went into horticulture, so I'm digging smaller holes
Yeah.
for life. So that's kind of my background, and I learned from and by doing. I sure as hell, if I'm looking at a screen for long enough, it drives me mental.
Yeah.
Like most people, and people love to get their hands dirty, and it's that
Mm.
idea of you touch the soil, the serotonin, you're literally electric leaving it. You don't have to be as
Yeah.
electric. People think that I'm taking drugs. I think I'm drinking literally. I'm going to say clove tea here, just cloves in a cup of water, like, because that's natural antibacterial for your teeth. And I love to do things like that. And most people want to be healthier, and I just do the simple things. That's it.
Mm. I think that's it, isn't it? It is the simple things that we're kind of looking for, that silver bullet or that magic pill or whatever it is, and actually it's just getting together with people, it's eating healthily, it's having good night's rest. It really is that simple.
Do you see, I suppose, yourself being someone that's of the younger generation, we'll put us in the same category, that there's more of us, or that there's less of us, or there's more of a draw back to the land or back to the community of health and wellness? What do you think?
I think it's really challenging to know that these days, because we're all in like an echo chamber of a algorithm. And I think once you, but then in you know, if you look back historically, we've lived in tribes, haven't we? And we've lived in smaller communities. So you would have been in your own echo chamber there also. But I think now sometimes I think, yes, definitely. And if I scroll or I have a look, but then you go and walk down the street and you see there's litter everywhere, and you can think, well, clearly no. Or you take yourself out of your own environment, or you put the news on or listen to the radio, and all of a sudden that's not the reality anymore. You know,
Whatever you
that's
focus, yeah, I
yeah,
love that quote. I think it's Tony Robbins. Whatever you focus on will expand, right? If you
yeah,
say, Jesus, I really think there's a massive abundance of people going back, growing, and all into, I'm going to say, let's say, going to wellness, different events. Yeah, you'll find those people. You'll say, oh, geez, yeah, Mary's doing that. Oh, Sarah and Jack and Paul and Pat, they're all going as well. They're booked
yeah,
into that wellness event there. Oh, geez, in Lancaster, amazing. Then you go, Jesus, there's some load of rubbish on the roads. Oh my God, there's more rubbish. Did you see? I'm after seeing somebody throwing something out the
yeah,
window, and it seems to be
yeah,
growing and growing. So there
yeah,
is, I just, even out of your own immediate family or friends, do you see
yeah,
more people going back to it? Or what do people say now
yeah,
that you, I suppose, gone back to college to study and
yeah.
start getting back into using the land for a positive as opposed to a negative that some people may label it as?
Yeah, well, I think like definitely in Lancaster, and I think people are in search of community. I know that for sure. And I think because, again, like historically, we would have had community more so in a church. So people are seeking that. They book onto a wellness day or they come to a supper, and actually the interactions that they're having at like pouring themselves a brew or like stood in the toilet queue or something is like, that's where the magic happens. Or like asking somebody to pass you the potatoes across the table. Like it's those moments, and that's like what makes you a human being. I know it's so simple, but certainly in Lancaster, we've got a big network through Food Futures who have really been a catalyst for that, I'd say, of like really trying to support people do different growing projects or learn about food through different workshops and making them really, really accessible. So I'm definitely seeing it. And I'm seeing more of an interest of people wanting to know more about the countryside, wanting to know more about farming. And I think for me, coming from more of a traditional farm, that's interesting. This story of the countryside that's kind of happening now, because there's also there's like more people who want to do more small scale growing, but actually farming is becoming more intensified because of one thing or another. It certainly is in the UK, where we're getting like much bigger farms. There's like less farms, more intensive, but then there seems to be more of a demand from like people in towns or villages who want to get involved somehow because they feel perhaps that they're slipping away from stuff.
Yeah, there is that grow for people literally to get back to the land, I would say personally myself.
Yeah,
And that's probably just because I'm immersed in it, and something that was after being organized, that I was one of the main individuals doing it. It was cycling down the length of the country, Ireland, 1,200 something kilometers. I'll never cycle again, I said. Down towards 10 organic and regenerative farms. And by the end of it, we had an event at every farm. And to tell you the truth, it was such a journey, but I'll never forget it. 10
yeah,
different farms over, I'm going to say, 8 different days. We really had the food that was grown on the farm. had people come there, a supper club, an event every night with different guest speakers of a holistic health, wellness, whether it was grounding, whether it was cacao, whether it was a story, or it was a poem, or someone sang or told an old fado from the Irish history. Lads, you couldn't write it on a stick, because it was just literally magic. And we're lucky enough to have all those people from the west coast of Ireland, and now we're going to do the east coast. I know I said I would never do it again, so we're going to do the east coast of Ireland. And that's not to say that we couldn't do it over in the UK as well.
I know that I was going to say,
Yeah, but get on over.
Yeah.
We'll chalk it down. That could definitely, and wouldn't be a million miles away from happening. And and I'm going to say, young go-getters like us, because we have to tell you, Michelle, the idea is like we have to push these things, because there are people like we are the future of it, right? People that they say that if the farmers are getting older, but there's younger people that want to take over and want in a positive way and literally help them to literally do good for the likes of the environment, because we're only here for a short period of time, and we're trying to connect the dots, okay? Because we were healthier 200 years ago with the likes of the way food was produced, but it's just not produced the same way. And we're being, and previously we were driven, and we went to the larger cities. We went to London, we went to, do you know what I mean, the likes of New York, we went to Australia, and we came back, and we were going, Jesus, we better start looking after this land, lads, because that's where the food is made, and I like to be healthier, and that's the best type of food. I don't want it wrapped up in a, this is so convenient right now, wrapped up in a stupid, literally, I've not used it 3 times in this podcast alone, and literally handed to me by somebody else that literally has grease all over it, that has cheese that's 90% plastic, and is going to cause inflammation, what you actually don't want, because people want to live healthier, and if you're healthier, you're much more happier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've got to give people the opportunity to kind of like get in front of it and get their hands in the soil. And it has to be from grassroots. I really do think that, because again, going back to the littering or going back to school, like that's where you learn about it. And if we're giving children crap food, or they don't know what it is, or they're only seeing it in the supermarket, what you don't know, do you? You know?
You just don't know. That's it.
And just sugar, like, you know, coming back with a bag of Haribo, or like that's it's not good, but there's an alternative, isn't there? And I think people do want it, and parents want it. And I think they can have it when there's more community projects, there's more people activated who want to like share that and encourage teachers to have a growing plot at school, or get kids to come to a local place, versus it being like, because it is really expensive for kids to get on a coach. So that could be like £500, which is crazy, to get a coach from like 10-minute journey. And we shouldn't be like excluding people because of something like that. If it was in every village, where people can get involved, it's much more accessible. That makes sense.
Healthy food is something that isn't just for the wealthy, right? Because the idea is a packet of seeds can cost you €2.50. Yep. And you can save the seeds. Firstly, you harvest the crop, you save the seeds, because when it goes to flower, because it goes through that cycle, you then have the opportunity to save hundreds of seeds. You are then allowed to, I'm going to say, save those seeds, sell them on, and make money. But you also, because, do you know what I mean? I told you the idea, you're going to have to give me some, and now Michelle is in on it, just you owe her some money as well. And that's just the way it goes. So that's our idea, for people to literally save money, and in all areas, because it isn't just the food that when you eat it, it's the connection with you, this person that you harvested it with. Like sowing, like I even be more relatable. Like I've sowed potatoes and onions this year for the first time with my 3-year-old niece. She's nearly 4. So like that's cool. I'll never forget that. I was lucky enough to record it. You can take a photograph yourself, because I suppose I'm someone who's on social media. That's a memory I'll never forget. A 3-year-old girl handing me onion sets to put them into the ground, and then I was just like, lads, I just cannot believe this is happening, right? And that's cool. That's a memory for me forever.
And you've gifted her that. I think like that's the thing I'm seeing through the events and experiences that we put on here, is that people want that. Like they want to come and learn about foraging. They want to come and learn about fermentation and those things, because that was knowledge that was just handed down by community, by our grandparents, and for lots of people that they haven't had that, or they haven't had the opportunity for that for one reason or another, just the way that society's changed. But yeah, you're right. Like you won't forget that, because that's like you're just passing on knowledge, just how like that seed's passing on knowledge. It's a reciprocal sort of cycle, really.
Love it in itself. Michelle, where would you see, I'm going to say, the likes of where would you see the land and sea going in the next, I'm going to say, 3 to 5 years? What would you like for it to happen in itself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want it to be more accessible, because at the moment we're selling tickets for events. I'm running a business, but I would love for it to be more accessible for absolutely everybody to come, and like whether you've got cash or you've got no cash, like it is for everybody anyway. But I just would love for more schools to be coming, more community groups to be coming. I'd love to have like more involvement from volunteers, coming and getting stuck in and like bringing stuff to life as well. Like if somebody came and learned a skill, like could they then share it and create an event and pay it forward and pass those skills on, so it becomes more sustainable, really. And yeah, just more dining experiences where people are getting together over food. I do think that's the connection to absolutely everything is food. It's your connection to nature, it's connection to each other, it's connection to your body, to your health, to everything.
Yeah, food is a celebration, right? And it
Yeah,
is at every occasion, whether it's you know what I mean, a child being born, you're going to get
exactly. Yeah.
christened, the communions, the confirmations. I'm not the most religious person in the world, but those are just celebrations that people do.
Mm.
We'll throw in Hanukkah, Christmas, Easter, you
Yeah.
name it, the bank holidays. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's meats, I'm going to say fruits, vegetables, and that's what I really love, right? At this Christmas, right? Having a group of people over and the Brussels sprouts, the potatoes, spinach, and rainbow chard, and apples harvested from trees, literally all used in the cooking of the, I'm going to say, Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Whether it's Christmas dinner or a dinner, like potatoes, they give us energy. They do not make you fat. And for those people who don't know me, I'm quite trim and slim. Yes, excuse me, I'm quite trim and trim. So the idea is white potatoes, they're delicious. They are literally something that are carbohydrate. They give you energy. Do not be afraid of them. Right? Don't listen to that other guy on or a girl that's on social media that has a six pack and says they make you fat. They don't, and then people do not have a clue. They haven't. They haven't a clue. That's it. That's my rant over.
I think we need a drinking game on this podcast where every time you say potatoes, we've got to drink.
I actually love that. That's actually gold. Right, we can start now. I've just finished my and actually it has to be a healthy drink. Oh, we can do kombuchas. There's a small bit of alcohol.
Yeah. But I think you're right, though. Actually, that's what I really would love to see more of here is like growing this market garden here, so people can come and they can pick it and they can see this. It's a miracle. Like I know it sounds so ridiculous, but it is. It's a miracle to see something grow. And if you've got that connection, and then all of a sudden it's on your plate and you taste it and you prepare it, it tastes so much better. It tastes 100 times better, doesn't it? Because you can see the energy. It's not just something you've got from a supermarket shelf, which is there's no mud, there's no soil, there's nothing that connects you to how that process of growing has actually happened in the supermarket.
Yeah, very, very true. I just going to mention, do you have allotments there that people could, I'm going to say, rent for a minimal fee for a year subscription to land where then they could literally put their potatoes into the likes of their, I'm going to say, into their ground. And from that, literally, that's, I suppose, a way of connecting and creating a larger community than you already currently do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't currently, but that's definitely something that could be amazing to give people that opportunity to, and also to have ownership of their own thing as well. So that's not something that we currently have, but there's definitely something that could be evolved for sure.
Yeah, allotments seem to work fairly well over here at the minute, and that's where I do get a percentage of my business. Just literally going to different communities and go. We have a guest speaker coming today, and as a result of that, we're talking on a specific topic of composting, of
Yeah.
the likes of carrot sowing, preventing slugs, whatever that topic may be. But that's kind of something that has worked over here, and I definitely would suggest that to you. And that's another way of, I suppose, having the land used in a positive way.
Absolutely. I know, again, I keep mentioning Food Futures, but they have a really great allotment scheme in the city as well, which just makes it more accessible for people like that. In a way, is a little bit challenging here sometimes because of where I'm located is really rural, and get access to getting here by a bus is a little bit challenging, if you know what I mean. Um, so yeah, I mean, anything's possible, isn't it? And if you really want to do it.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to say, would you mention in relation to your glass house, or is it a polytunnel that you currently have? Do you have plants in place for the growing season ahead?
So all this glass house has literally just been built. This like the maybe 3 days ago it was built. So that's really, really exciting. And then I've got a box full of seeds, some already ready to go. So yeah, just waiting for the magic to happen.
Amazing. Get your cucumbers and your melons and your squashes and even
I've got any melons.
carrots. Yeah, melons are great, and they're climbers. They're literally amazing. I've really
Mm.
sown mine yesterday. Come on, right? So they're beautiful. Pipette melon, get those seeds if you don't have them
Right.
already. Yeah, write those down. The idea is like squash or something to climb as well. People sometimes forget that. So people like think of squash as like a sprawler, but if you put it up a string line, if you can, most people would see tomatoes growing up string lines. Squash can grow up as well. And if you have never seen a squash holding up its own weight, this is a sight to behold. It's like, I don't know, something out of Cinderella, because the leaves are massive, big in your head. The leaves go, and typically you can get between 3 and 5 of the likes of a large squash. We go a crown prince. That's another beautiful squash for people to
Nice.
gain advantage of. And if you wanted to put it in the tunnel or the glass house, that'll be cool. And it's all about attracting people to things that they haven't ever seen before. And or tomatoes, you would want to buy in or get from a friend your tomatoes right now, because typically I would sow them in definitely February, March the latest, just because they've such a long growing season. And how I get people to remember that as I go, Coleman, the single 34-year-old man, is sowing his tomatoes on Valentine's Day every year. And they're like, ha, ha, they will never forget it. They will never forget it. And you will never forget it either on this podcast. Right. So that's you won't forget it either, Michelle.
I know it sounds like I missed the boat with the tomatoes, but
Yeah, but the thing is, someone else is going to help you. There's someone else in the
yeah.
community. There's someone else up in the future foods. I'm going to say allotments that may be able to have an abundance of them left over. Someone has texted me in the last 6 hours, all right, this morning, and said, Coleman, I have 30 tomato plants and I don't know what to do with them. That is someone that's texted me. And I'll just even just further expand on that point. They've sown them into a bucket and there's 30 all grown in one, and they're a bit but still they're sown. And the idea is we all learn, and they have learned now straight away, that that's not how tomatoes grow. But it's better to have them in the bucket altogether than not at all, if you get me. Better be looking at them
Yeah,
than looking for them.
exactly. Love that.
Oh, that's right. And yeah, and they learned. They hadn't a clue, and now they have
Yeah,
more of a clue. Do you get
yeah,
me?
that's it.
The only
Exactly.
way you can learn is by making mistakes. Because if you don't do anything, you don't gain advantage from that.
That's it. It's all a bit of an experiment. And I know here as well, because where we are right on the seawall, sorry, it's salty air. So I know there's going to be like a hit and miss with certain things. And it's very, very, very windy.
Well, you'll gain full advantage of either, I'm going to say, creating a wind barrier with some sort of native tree that most you would pick from like your course to
Yeah.
really prevent a lot of the backlash from the harsh conditions that do come in, and also your polytunnel and glasshouse, or yeah, will give you protection from the likes of those harsh conditions as well. So just remember to use full advantage, maximum space. And I suppose, be giving tips and passing them on to you itself. I suppose we can let the listeners in on a little secret. In the near future, stay tuned. There may be an event coming up, all right, with Misha. That's Irish for me. I'm actually practicing my Irish as well. In Lancaster, so stay tuned for that. Am I right in saying that, Michelle?
Yeah, let's definitely make it happen.
Let's make it happen. You heard it here first, right? There's no dates just set just yet, but stay tuned. It'll be on the socials, on the massive socials of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and this podcast. So stay tuned for that. Michelle, is there anything else you want to, I suppose, expand on before we kind of finish up on this podcast, on things that you're currently doing, or what that you would like to more viewers or listeners to know about the likes of your projects you have currently now?
Yeah, definitely. I would say check out the events that we've got coming up. They are for everybody. You can see those on the website, which is landandsealancaster.com, and that's also the Instagram handle as well, where sort of like post the latest things. And what else to say? Yeah, if anybody's up for collaborating, or if you're doing you can facilitate an event and you were looking for a space to do that or bring it to life, then our spot could be for you.
Love it. Right. Michelle, thank you so much for really giving us your time in relation to all things going, you say, wellness, health, and your approaches you have over there. And I always end these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and get on that good stuff.